So we have here an update on the 2025 WNBA regular season standings. Here we have games that happened yesterday on Monday. We had games that happened on Monday. Usually Monday games don't happen much in the WNBA. Usually on Mondays as days off, but sometimes they do have Mondays as game days. Because now they've been having like 44 game seasons. So having some games on Mondays to space out the year so players, they don't have like more back to backs and stuff like that. And it'll become more reality thing. Like Monday games in pro sports, like MLB is a thing. It's not like the biggest game night day of them all. The NBA is not very big on Mondays. I mean, it is, but it isn't. The NFL is Monday Night Football, but most of them, don't do Mondays. I mean, they do some, but not a ton. Here we have the Sailstorm beat the Connecticut 7-1-1-85. The Dallas Wings and the New York Liberty did not have Brandon Stewart, Janko Jones. He back up the All-Star break, so she's getting worked in. We have players that are out for rest purposes and stuff like that, so Kenny Arsabe, Kenny Burke were out for rest, and then you had no Brandon Stewart, so I think without Brandon Stewart they might slip a little bit. There's no she avoided a serious leg injury, but she's still out for a while, so who knows when she's going back. The Golden State Valkyries get a big solid win over the Dream 77-75. And the Washington Mystics with a 103-86 win over the Chicago Sky yesterday. And then Las Vegas Aces with a big much needed win, 89-74. We have now some games tonight. We have Phoenix plays at Phoenix Mercury play 69 play at the and the Fever 14-1 ESPN 3 in League Pass and local broadcasters in Phoenix in the Indian area at 7 Eastern. At 8 Eastern on ESPN 3, like feature TV in Atlanta and like local over the air broadcaster in Dallas. As there's a local over the air broadcaster, there's Dallas Wings and Dallas Mavericks games. After Valley Sports, they dropped the rights for the NBA team, the Mavericks, and the WNBA team, the Dallas Wings, which I think benefits the WNBA. I mean, the NBA benefits too, but benefits both sports leagues for more viewership. Just maybe a little less in reduced rates, but fees, but it's honestly kind of worth it for WNBA to get more viewership. Just in general for these teams. Take a hit in the front and make up for it in the back end. And that's at Eastern. And then at 8 Eastern and ESPN. It's 7 local, 7 Central, which is my time. ESPN has New York Liberty take on the Minnesota Lynx. Some big games going on tonight. Let's talk about standings now. So for standing purposes, the Minnesota Lynx are first, but they also have a game with they're playing the New York Liberty without Brandon Stewart, but they play the Las Vegas Aces on Saturday on ABC and ESPN Plus, and that's a big game. And that's a big game because Minnesota Lynx are the Las Vegas Aces are playing solid basketball. And they're playing solid basketball without after the All-Star break, they've been playing solid, and winning like good games. They've been a little up and down struggle. They've been up and down this season, and now they can get more consistency. They had like Meg Gustafson out. They've had just injuries in their lineups, and they've had to bring like other players in, like in and out of their lineups, like for they just didn't like this in their lineup, or just didn't fit right, and they've had like Liz Kitley, like they had Drew Lloyd starting lineup, and then Drew Lloyd, Kirsten Bell was actually better in the starting lineup. They brought in like Melissa Smith in the starting lineup. Melissa Smith in play at times worked out well. They brought in they had Kia Stokes, but Meg Gustafson probably coming back from like injury and stuff, so they worked in her end. But that's gonna be a tough game though for like. But if I feel like if the Aces can win that one, or they'll miss like some Saturday afternoon in Las Vegas, that would be a big win for Las Vegas. And Minnesota's days would be numbered if that was to happen. Like not, you know what I mean? Like not, I don't know, the first out of first place, it won't be, but like especially come playoff time, Minnesota is gonna have to worry, about the playoffs and like come playoff time. If the Aces happen to make it to play if it's the Lynx versus if it's the Miss Lynx versus the Las Vegas Aces in the playoffs, come in like the first round, especially with the 1 seed. It could be a 1 seed. The Liberty, I could see the Liberty being numbered as well. But Brandon Stewart's out for a while, so if Brandon Stewart's out for a while, I feel like the New York, New York Liberty might be a little bit, especially against the top teams like Phoenix, Seattle, Atlanta, might be tough, even lost to them, Las Vegas and the Sparks, so, I don't know. I still feel like confident. I still feel like the Lynx, they'll be number 1 regardless. Number 2 though, if they lose, I still feel like they'll be 1 for a while. Like the 2, 3, 4, 5, all those teams, they'll be around in order. Phoenix has been playing really solid basketball, especially with the line on her back. It's really worked out for both teams. Really, people are like, Luana, she quit, she's a quit, stuff like this and that. But it's like, no, Luana, she just didn't have the right fit for her, and honestly, and you can see it now. She's playing like really solid basketball in Phoenix. So it's a good solid win. It's a good solid all around. It's a good solid worked out for the Indiana Fever, worked out for the Phoenix Mercury. So, and then we have Seattle Storm. Like their core of Skylar Diggins, Neko Umeke, you got Alicia Clark, you got you got your core players in Seattle like that, and they're like really solid. You got Ezzy Magmagor, you got Gabby Williams, you have all your really solid like talent in Seattle, and like everything's. I mean, they've lost some games. Yes, they probably could have won. Yes, yes, they have. But however, Seattle is still really solid though. And if they can keep it going, you know, with these games, I feel like Seattle can keep it where they are. I don't know if they'll like maybe they'll be top two, but they top two, top three. I don't see them getting the first place, but I could see them like staying like 2, 3, 4, 5 range, and really solid team. So I like it. Atlanta Dream. No, I mean I know it's chicken, but before Atlanta Dream, the Seattle Storm. The Seattle Storm. I do feel like they'll stay in there, but I mean the Seattle Storm do have to win games. They just can't like not win games like Seattle Storm. They start Friday on Ion. The next second game is the doubleheader on Ion, which is the West Coast teams, Pacific time zone teams, in the Phoenix Mercury. So they have Seattle at 10 Eastern and 7 Pacific. And then they play Indiana Fever on Sunday on ABC at 3 Eastern Pacific. And then they play a game on Tuesday, so against the Minnesota Lynx team on the road. So, or at home. They play Minnesota Lynx at home. So, they got some games that should be winnable. A couple that should be winnable, so it's going to be tough though, but can they do it? We'll see. Listen, the Atlanta Dream have had some games like the Atlanta Dream are not like are a few games right they lose here couple points. I think they lost to Las Vegas. Yeah, see, they were just down in that third quarter, just really put them down. They were tied at halftime, 39-0. That third quarter really just do that. They have some games at points where they just don't, where they just not 100%. In times. And that's what really hurts them. Like they have one little bad quarter or one little bad stretch, and it just hurts them. But Carl Smesco has proven that he's like a solid coach in this league. He has. He's proven that he can go from like a mid-major FGCU team who was like they were really solid in the ASUN. FGCU, like they were a solid team, and he was coaching in the ASUN, and they're like, they're like one of those teams that dominant who they play in conference, non-conference play. They're like really dominant. Non-conference, they've been good team. Like in the NCAA tournament, they've been pulling off an upset. Women's basketball tournament, they've been upset. Thinking pulling off an upset, they might be able to pull off an upset. Play like really tough against that's like 11, 12, 13 seed. Play like really tough. Especially they've begun games like 12 seeds and been really tough. So I like that. Indiana Fever. Now they're without Caitlin Clark. They've been without their star Caitlin Clark. For most of the season, and honestly, I think they'll be okay without her. They're used to playing without Caitlin Clark this season, so much that they'll probably be okay without her. I mean, it's just the problem of it is they've had like so much like injuries. They've had 3 injuries. She's had 3 injuries this season. She missed the All-Star game. She missed other stretches of the year with injuries. So it's like, mm, you know, I mean, so she hasn't played at all that season really. I mean, she has, but yeah, seeing she's out again on Sunday's game. Which is not good. I mean, it's not bad, but she's just been injury prone this season. And, that's the problem. Is she one of those players that's just injury prone? Or is it just like, she didn't miss a game in like college, ever in college? I don't know if she ever missed a game in high school. I don't think she has, like, her high school varsity career. I don't believe she has, like, AAU or like club basketball. I don't know if she has. She really hasn't missed many games, like, up beforehand. Really missed any like, anything college. High school, probably. I don't believe so. I don't think they've ever said nothing on that, but yeah, I mean, she really hasn't missed games, and so this now it's probably maybe about coming back to her. Um, that's pretty much it. I mean, Indiana, I mean, they're good without her, but they're not like, I mean, they're still good, but they're not like, I mean, they've played without her. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah. I would say, they've played. The thing of it is they played so much without Keelan Clark that it's like Indiana knows what they're doing, without her, but still they would like to get her back like full strength in the lineup, like slowly, like put her in, like maybe take her off have her come off the bench, and then when she can come off the bench, she slowly work her in, and then we have the Las Vegas Aces. The Las Vegas Aces are one of those teams that you like. How are they 14-13? Well, they've had a slow start to the season. Slow off in some games, like they should have won. They haven't won, and this not perfect. Now they found like the perfect lineup. I feel like they took last few games they took Drew Light out of the games, like not out of the games, but like out of the starting lineup. They took her out of the starting lineup against the Ace for the Aces game against Dallas. They took her out of the starting lineup then. And that really helped take her out of the starting lineup. Helping her by taking her out of the starting lineup. And like Kirsten Bell came in. You've seen like Kirsten Bell in. Like last game. You can see the box score. Like for Las Vegas. Yes, Kirsten Bell was in. Melissa Smith was in. They took Drew Lloyd out. Kia Stokes. Megan Gustafson was the starting center. They haven't had her in. They've had Melissa Smith in for 17 minutes, Kirsten Bell in for 20 minutes. They bring Drew Lighting off the bench for 23 minutes, but it's like, it's like Dana Evans has really been showing off. So it's like, I mean, I really feel like that lineup they've been having in like what people think. Oh, Melissa Smith, like this Melissa Smith's like, yeah, that's a bad trade for them. Oh, it's not. I mean, yeah, they may have gave up a little too much. Maybe they got her for a cheaper price. Yeah, they probably could have, or cheaper like thing, like not like less like draft picks or less this that you know, giving up less, giving up. Yes, they probably might have been able to, but it's still really solid. Still like really solid. Um, like player. She's still really solid player for them. I mean, it's really solid draft the piece that they got for her. They've been showing up. You can see why she's so good though. She's still a good player though. She's not gonna like maybe fill up like the stats, get like tons of tons of points. She had 8 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, a block, 3 for 5 shooting, 2 for 2 in the 3-throw line. So she's still like a really solid player though. That can do play for them. Kind of like a role player. She knows her role and she can fill it well. So I like that. And then you have Dana Evans, which can fill her role. Aaliyah Nye, the big huge shooter for them. And you can see when she's on the floor, she's one of those like 3-point shooters. She's one of those like really just good shooters for them. And she doesn't get maybe a lot of playing time, but you can see her like fill up the floor, fill up the stats, and stuff like that. And like, so yeah, I really like it, what they've been doing, with them. The Mystics. Now the Mystics, I mean, I feel like they're not like consistent, Like I mean, they're good, but they're not like consistent good. Like Phoenix, they lose 88-72. They beat Chicago with 103-86. Then they lose Los Angeles in 83-86. And they beat Seattle 69-58. So like they lose to like Los Angeles, but they beat Seattle. And then they lose to Phoenix. They beat Chicago. So like they lose to some teams that they probably could have won against. They upset some teams that they, maybe that like, oh, we might have actually should have won that game, but we did. But then some teams like us and said they were pretty even with, could have actually won, they don't win. So it's like they're up and down, they're not consistent enough. But I feel like lately, they've been like they're good. But they still have a lot of young core talent. Their young core, they're basically like a young core. They got rid of like the holdovers. They had Mike Tebow. He left to become a general manager, and he took away for coaching. And then Eric Tebow, his son, was one of the assistant coaches. He took over, and he went to be an assistant for Minnesota after they got rid of him. And you can see it. And now they've got a good young talent in Washington. I mean, this season, but they're learning though. Kind of, it's kind of like a learning season. Like you kind of expected this a little bit. But they're still doing good though. You got Washington. You got Lucy Olsen, Sonia Citron, Kiki Uriafen. You got like 3 really solid like young pieces. Like when they mean like young talent in pro sports, like rookies, second years, like players that like those players are going to be solid players for a long time in this league. I feel like they've already made like a good solid impact on the team. It's just can they improve so year by year, Like, you got Steph Dolson, which is a good solid center. You got Shakira Austin. You got Brittany Sykes. You know, can avoid injuries. Like, avoid injuries this season. I mean, each team's gonna have injuries. Players, yeah, you're going to. But can you avoid like injury beat out for like only a game or two? Can you avoid like injury teams? Like if the Washington Mystics can avoid them, I feel like they'll be just fine, and they'll be solid. But this season, I mean, but they're still a good solid team. But I just feel like they need to like just be a little bit more consistent. Especially come playoff time. Like you need to win like 2 out of 3 games in the playoffs. And can they do that? In like the first round, playing like Minnesota or playing a team like New York. Especially if New York's healthy with Brianna Stewart and Sabrina and everyone's back healthy, 100% healthy, fully healthy. Can they be consistent? That's the thing. Can they be 100% consistent? Not just like pull off an upset against Seattle and then win, which I would presume, I would say it's an upset, because really Seattle should have had their number. And then Golden State. Now let's talk about Golden State. Golden State is and like I was saying, like, where do I think these teams can go? I forgot to mention that. So for Indiana, I feel like, I don't know though. They're like with Caitlin Clark out. They're like they played so much without her, but then they have to go back to playing without her, again, and then getting her back in, getting her out. So it's like a bunch of jostling around the lineups and stuff. But I feel like they might be 5th, 6th. 7th, 8th. I could see them being like 5th through 8th, and they're not going. I don't think anywhere past 5th place, especially I don't see it right now, especially since the Aces are on like a really hot streak right now, and I just don't see it. Aces. I could see the Aces moving up too, especially since they're a really hot team. I know. I could see it moving up to 5th. 5th. It's past 6th to like 4th. I don't know about 3rd right now because Phoenix is in 3rd right now. I just don't know about them in 3rd. But right now because but I could see it's 4th right now. That they're only Seattle's only 2 games ahead, so I could really see 4th right now, and that would be really good for this Las Vegas Aces team. Get some big momentum, play some, and they have a lot of winnable games like Connecticut. Teams that are more the bottom standings, like teams that are actually like Golden State. Teams are more winnable games for them. They play Golden State twice upcoming. They play, Minnesota, then they play Golden State once at home. In Las Vegas once in San Francisco. They play Seattle, which is winnable in Las Vegas. They play Connecticut in Las Vegas. So they play really good without Brianna Stewart. So possibly they could possibly play without Brianna Stewart on the 12th, on the 13th, of August. So yeah. So they got a bunch of winnable games. Washington. He might move up they'll be probably between 6th and 9th, maybe 10th. Actually, I'd probably say 6th through 9th range. And then Golden State. Golden State is up and down consistency wise. They're good, but they're up and down this season. Do I see Golden State winning? Do I see Golden State making the playoffs? Yeah, possibly. Do I see Golden State like one in the playoffs? Especially if they play a team like Minnesota, number one seed. Minnesota's number one seed right now. And probably will be the number one seed, honestly. Do I see Golden State staying in number one? Do I see Golden State like making a deep playoff push? No. No, the Los Angeles Spurs. And I mean they're good, they're proven for an expansion team. Like a brand new expansion team. And a team with role players. First time head coach. Role players. You know? That type of thing. Like role players, like a lot of them, most of the players that were playing are role players in the WNBA. Some of them still are role players, like or they're like role players, or like they got like less of a role on other teams, like maybe 10 minutes a game. Now they're moving up to like 15 minutes a game. That type of thing. Instead of being like being like fringe players, more like getting like 10 minutes a game, they might get 15 minutes a game. And then like some of those that are getting like 15, 20 minutes, like sixth player, seventh player on the bench, like they're becoming like starters for these teams so they're doing good, but they just need to be a little bit more consistent. But they're good though. They just need to you know, I guess they're not playing so bad though. It's just they got problem it is too is they got Kayla Thorne out due to injury for the Valkyries, so she's like a really solid player for them. She's been solid her like whole career in like Dallas, and she was solid in Dallas. She's solid in for New York last season, for the Liberty last season for the playoffs. So I can see them, making the playoffs, but I don't see them doing it, especially without Kayla Thorne being out for the rest of the season. With injuries, I just don't see them making it to the champion, maybe making the playoffs, but that's about it. Us in the Spurs, the LA Spurs. Now the LA Spurs are a team that they're better on paper than the record shows. They're not like the Aces or nothing like that, but they're still a solid team. And now they've got bringing back in Cameron Brink to play like 15 minutes a game. She hasn't played last season. She played like first 15 games of her career, and then for the season in her regular season games of her career. Then she started playing. Then she got injured and out. Now she's been out for like 409 days. She was out for before she came back and played her. Before she came back, and now she's working 15 minutes a game. And now she's going to see if she can handle 15 minutes a game and handle like this many minutes. Move up in minutes. So it's like, can she do that? And this team is good though. They got Kelsey Plum, Yerka Hamby, Ricky Jackson, who else? I'm blanking right now. They got Ray Burrell, they got Julie Allman, Julie Van Loo. They brought in as a bench player, because she got cut by Golden State. There's a Cameron Brink. You got you got them. main players right there. They're a solid core. I mean, they're a solid team. I just feel like if they can get like, I don't know if this season they'll be like 100%, but if they can stay healthy next season, like in their off-season leagues, you know, if they can fully be 100% healthy by the time the season starts next season, this season, if they can slowly work the rest of the season, slowly work like Cameron Brunkin, slowly work Cameron Brunkin in the lineups, and their problem is if they're not on like last night, they were just really off from 3-pointers. They're like the best teams at shooting threes, making 9 3-pointers a game. And they just were not consistent. When they're off, they're off. That's what hurts them. So, Dallas is one of those teams that really just I mean, is consistent. They're not like consistent, too much. I mean, they weren't in the beginning of the year, but they've had like a lot of new coach like Chris Coplanas. They had Paige Beckers. They've had like a lot of young pieces, like a lot of young players. Like pretty much the oldest players are Tierra McCowan, Enrique, the veterans. They pretty much have like a lot of new faces, in the lineup. They weren't super consistent at first. Working Page, JJ Quinterly, all their rookies. Rookies in the lineup. Now then, like young players. But now Maddie Seagrass went out. You had Paige Beckers out to a rest. I think rest a few times. You've had trying not to, because Paige has had injury problems when she was at UConn. So they've been trying to work through that a little bit. I mean, it's like I feel like and now with Lee Rule back in the lineup. Lee Rule back in the lineup. Back with the Wings. She was with the Sparks Circle. Then she got traded to Seattle Storm. On some more time. She's been proven why in Dallas she's been like really solid. So I don't feel like this season they might not be it. Like next season, they have to slowly work on it. And Chris Coplanis is he's not like he's proven like the best coach. Like Haley Jones been in like hardship. I feel like Haley Jones is actually in her spot in Dallas, as she should. Like I don't understand why she got cut in the first place by Atlanta. I guess if you bring in like Brittany Griner and you bring in Bree Jones, I guess, but I still don't know why, And I bet she's been killing in Dallas, so she'll be, if they can keep the same pieces they have now, like on the court, next season, they'll be fine. They'll be like better off, next season. They just got to work through it, the players, learning curve with the new coach, this and that, I feel like with Chris Classer set the bar first year, and then 10 wins, then you can get to this number, can you go, then they're gonna set the bar, it's gonna keep adjusting, like can you improve, so like you keep improving year after year, Next year if they get like a high draft pick, like can they get Easy Fudd? Can they get Olivia Miles? Can they get Like I'm not too up on right now on my top college players right now, or like ones in C1's basketball. Like a player like that, can they get like a top player in the that in the college right now? Like it's a senior in college. Can they get them? And that's what they can get them and just pop them right in, kind of, and just like go plug and play kind of thing, plug them in the system. Plus they're playing, doing well where they're at. Feel like they might not be so bad. They might slowly work their way up. Feel like that could happen. Especially with these new teams, you have the next season you have the Portland Fire and the Toronto Temple, both coming in the league at the same time. It's kind of like the expansions. Like that's what's really gonna take away from these teams. So the expansions, so. Like, then you have Dallas. Then you have Chicago. Chicago's been, they were kind of mid team anyways. Like not a great team. Then they got injuries. Got injured. They've had injuries to other players. This season. Been working in their young core. Angel Reese was back, but they've had injuries. Angel Reese. They had Atkins out. Courtney Vanderstoot's out. You've had Courtney Atkins, Courtney Vanderstoot. Lee Van Lith was out. I mean, so you just had like a lot of players out. For Dallas, and it's not been like or for Chicago, it's not been like a consistent lineup. They've just had so many injuries, like big players like Atkins, Courtney Vanderstoot, injuries, like that's just like they're not fully healthy yet, and they've been like really playing like limited players, like last game, like on yesterday's game against Washington, they only had 9 players or 8 players, so it's really tough when you're playing 8 players, only. It's like pretty tough. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they just need to rest up, get healthy, and next season try it again. But it's their first season with Tyler Marsh, an assistant for the Las Vegas Aces. He was an assistant for the Aces last season. So can they play well? Without can they play well in the next season? Like just at the bar, like so they keep improving. I feel like that's what they need to do. Connecticut Sun. They're like down in the tank this season. Like the problem was everyone left in once they found their new ones. Stephanie White left to go to Indiana, be head coach of Indiana. She wanted to leave Connecticut to be Indiana's coach, and she did that so she could be closer to like her family. She was like they were willing and open to stay with her, but now they just have like a really young core, like really young. And they haven't had like a lot of like you can see like they got Bria Hartley, Tina Charles, Lisa Morrow, Sonia Rivers, JC Sheldon, Nelson Doda. They got Mia Marshall, Lindsay Allen. They got like a really young team. players with a lot of experience in the WNBA. So if they can get that, like Tina Charles, Marina Mabrey, if they can start building using Tina Charles, Marina Mabrey, as maybe Bria Hartley as like their core. I mean, some of these players have been coming back from injury, like Marina Mabrey. If they can, some of these players have been. If they can start playing them, they can get back to like, I don't know if they'll be like 100%. This season might just be like a season for them, but can they slowly improve on that season? Can they like build up day after day? Game at game to game, day to day in practice, game after game, and they slowly build up. This season, next season, like I feel like in a few seasons, maybe better. They may be better, but they just gotta let's see what the expansions like this and that. The expansion drafts, how can affect them. All this and that. I feel like they might be okay though. If they can, do well next season. I feel like maybe in a few seasons, like they have like the coach, like the former coach, he used to coach like the French national team. I think it was either like the French. I don't know if it was the French women's national team or French men's national team, like Eurobasket. He used to coach like Eurobasket. The French national team used to coach. So for like in Eurobasket and like women, the overseas like the competition, it's like here in the United States we treat it as like we don't use our top players because we have so many stat players that we can just play college, and some of the assistants that are like U.S. national team coaches they're like college coaches. They can they coach, so it's like a really like, so we have like loads of talent like over there in Europe. They treat it like really like big deal. They use like all their big stars. That's why you see a lot of their big stars come over from, they're playing in the WNBA, come over to Europe and play. And he knows like what it's like to coach in like huge games and like the international level. And he used to be the former head coach of France, the French national team. And so it was like a summer competition. It's like the national teams. And in basketball, that's what they usually do, all these teams. I mean, the WNBA is kind of like a summer league. And the only reason why it's the summer league in the United States is because we have the NBA. They can oversee Europe. It's like just as big, like the men's national team. Like the men's EuroLeague is big, just as big as like the women's EuroLeague is. Pretty much, it's like pretty equal footing. I mean, I would say. It's a pretty big deal. So it's like the women's EuroLeague, it's like big deal over there. So it's like the EuroLeague, like the domestic leagues. But the main big one here, like that everyone follows, I know here in the United States, is like the EuroLeague. So that's like a big deal. Like the Eurobasket, like the international competition. And it's here in the summer because like the club teams, like which would be like the club team would be like your WNBA team, or your like league, like your like league team, like your country's league team. And then you play like the Euro League. A lot of times in Europe they play a secondary competition like soccer. They have the UEFA champion, they have the Champions League, the Europe Champions League, Europe League, Europe League. They have other like FA Cups. They have like country they have country competitions, whole country competitions with your club team. They have like all like Europe like competitions. they have like that, and like that's the Euro League, the Euro Cup, so they're like big deals. But he can knows how to do it, so he knows how to coach like big time games for like countries, like national teams. He keeps showing it why. So I feel like if he can do that, he can still build them. He knows how to build a good team. It's just kind of harder with the club level because you have to like recruit players. You know, you still have to recruit players that want to play in the. Now every player might want to play like but players were more likely to play like international competitions, like Olympics or other stuff. It's a big deal. Like, but it's like but it's like the Euro, you know, like in the club level, it's harder to work your players in. It's harder to get like the best players, especially here with the salary caps and you got tough teams. So, but if you can still work him in, so get used to coaching, get the WNBA, get like good players in, but or just even improve the core they got and keep slowly improving. I feel like they got a good shot, good chance to win. I don't know if they'll not be a great team probably right away, but they can still work their way up from from like 5 wins to like 10. It might take some time, but as long as they got the patience to wait, a little bit, and just don't want to like push right away. Okay, we want you to win now. If they can push it, as long as they can like slowly take time and slowly improve. Maybe not look to this year, look to next 2026, 2027. Can have that future mentality. I feel like they'll be fine.